Hello race fans and welcome to the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup Championship live here from Laguna Seca in California. My name is Peter Mackay and joining me in the commentary box this evening is Marco Barbanera, and a man of many talents, also providing you these wonderful images of a virtual Laguna Seca and operating our very snazzy SDK Gaming graphics. We are going heat racing tonight here at Laguna Seca after a very busy round at Road Atlanta a week ago. Marco, it should be a thriller tonight.
Absolutely. Hello everyone. And yes, I mean, the heat format last week around at Road Atlanta was absolutely fantastic, provided from some great racing, great drama, with the drivers fighting for that all-important top 12 in the heat races or top 6 in the Consolation race. And I think tonight, even more important, it is to have a good run in the heat races, because, I mean, this is a track that is notoriously hard to pass into, Peter, and seems like the drivers will have to contend with a 48 degrees Celsius track temperature, so not the easiest of combinations.
No, that high track temperature is going to be a big challenge for these drivers. The Michelin tyres on these Porsche 911 Cup cars does not like those high track temperatures. Should be really slippy and slidey out there. Well, this is how the championship standings look at the moment. Defending champion Kamil Grabowski leads the way by 60 points or so from Tor Anders, but Josh Thompson is the danger man. He has come in with a bang here into the ARA Porsche Cup Championship, and the former Tag Heuer Porsche Esports Super Cup driver will be looking to treble up on his victory count as well. Pascal Costa, the vice champion from last season, I should say, in 4th, and Matthias Burke looking in 5th. Marco, how are the AM Championship standings looking?
Yeah, there they are on your screen right now, and you can see Max Wolf leads the way barely above Kevin Finn. Has been a very close fight at Road Atlanta. Kev Copeland sits a bit behind with only 54 points. Tom Bevior and Paul Lange, your top 5 in this class. Still very tight, but the two drivers at the top seem to be, in this early portion of the season at least, running away with it just a bit. But it's a long season. There are, of course, drop scores, etc. So it's much too early, to make any kind of prediction. In any case, we are live and qualifying is well underway. Remember, qualifying will determine who races in which heat, and the odd drivers, so 1st, 3rd, 5th, so on and so forth, will do the first heat race, which will also assign pole position, of course, for the race. And, of course, 2, 4, 6, 8, in this qualifying session, will be doing the second heat race. That will also assign positions on the even side of the grid. So very important to get a good, good start, at least in qualifying. You certainly want to start the heat races at the front, because again, it's massively important to finish in front of your heat race if you want to have a good starting position for the main event, Peter.
Definitely. I think it's going to be really important to keep that track position throughout the night. The mistakes will be punished severely, and this qualifying session, this could be the most important 10 minutes of the meeting. But at the moment, it's Pascal Costa sitting on the pole at the moment, nearly 0.2 of a second quicker than any other driver, and our winner over the last 2 rounds, Josh Thompson, sitting in 2nd position at the moment. Roger Christensen in 3rd, but very tight on the times as well. About 0.8 of a second covering the top 9 rows of the grid. Absolutely incredible how close it is out there. I have to say, I've been very impressed by the 2 leaders in the AM Championship, Marco. Max Wolf, an overall top 10 last time out at Road Atlanta, and in a field as busy as this and as deep as this, that's quite some achievement.
It is, especially because, you cannot make mistakes, and the Road Atlanta is a track, much like Laguna Seca tonight, that really invites you in making mistakes, and you pay dearly for it. But those guys were almost perfect, and if you can survive, you know, the tough beginning of the race, if you can make your way as an amateur driver straight into the main event without having to go to the consolation, you absolutely have the possibility of scoring big. And you know, that was the problem for many amateur drivers last week, Peter. They had to go through the consolation, didn't make it past the consolation. Just I think we only had 4 or 5 drivers from the amateur class make it to the main event, and so the drivers who were able to score big in the feature race, they absolutely, you know, I wouldn't say they are running away with it in the championship standings, but certainly they are, you know, in a good position compared to the other drivers.
Interestingly, there's a lot of personal best lap times getting fired in here at the end of the session. So I wonder if that's maybe a track temperature thing, maybe just cooling slightly possibly, as Alberti goes to third. Absolutely incredible. 4 drivers within 1/10 of a second. Josh Thompson set his best lap time of the session, but missed out on pole by 2/100ths of a second, although he will be pole in his heat. The ultimate pole position at the moment going to Pascal Costa, and that is how they will finish then for this qualifying session. So Pascal Costa will start on pole position for heat number 1. The winner of this heat, of course, getting pole position for the feature. Andrea Alberti will join Costa on the front row of the grid, with Bryn Collins and Matthias Burke starting from row 2. Defending champion Camille Grabowski will start 5th, with Robin Noberg starting 6th. Niels Erik Isaacson will start alongside the AM-class contender Kevin Finn. Lewis Ward and Simone Passoni will round out your top 10. Leandro Andaruti and Mateus Nogaj will round out the 6th row, followed by Arturus Kundelis, Sam Fitzpatrick, Mark Silcock, Bob Humphrey, Kev Copeland, Craig Jones, Herbert O'Shaughnessy, Joseph Saul, Joe McCauley and Nathan Healy rounds out the 11th row of the grid. 22 cars, 12 cars go through to the feature race. Marco, I'm not sure I like those odds.
Yeah, and new feature that I don't think you've seen. It's a new feature that we had in the last round of the series in the late that we had in Road Atlanta. You will see on the screen on the timing tower the top 12 highlighted in blue, and those are the drivers that will make it, you know, through the main event. As finally deliveries have been downloaded. The internet in Italy not being very nice today, but hopefully we have sorted the issue, and you will see the beautiful colors of this grid and the decals made by Dane Bird. Let me say a big shout out to Dane Bird, who's not with us tonight. He's now suffering in front of the screen for his Man United.
Well, he should be watching this. This is going to be much more interesting. The Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup heat number 1 at Laguna Seca is off, and Pascal Costa leads us away down towards the Andretti hairpin. Pascal Costa making sure to hold that inside line, but Alberti, is he going to try and hook it around the outside? No, thinks better of it. Filters in behind Costa, so Costa gets through clean. Do the rest of the field get through clean? They're very good respect from all the drivers throughout this opening heat, and they all get through clean.
Yes, remember, since the Road Atlanta round, there are harsher penalties for lap 1 contacts, or, you know, I should say lap 1 tomfoolery in general. Oh, big hit there, as Fitzpatrick, I think, got in a little bit. No, sorry, it was not Fitzpatrick, it was Anderuti with Kundelis, a little bit of argy-bargy there. They all make it through, they survive, and now, of course, the corkscrew. And before the corkscrew, this you know, tight left-hander that has that curb on the inside, which is never nice, but here we go with at the corkscrew for the first time tonight.
I love how we can keep the use of argy-bargy going, Marco. I think apparently Calvin Fish was told by his American bosses not to use the term, but we need to encourage him to keep using it.
Absolutely. I will keep on using it, even if the bosses here at Apex TV tell me otherwise.
Of course. So Pascal Costa leads us through to lap 1 then. Just 15-minute race here, so it will go by in a flash, and therefore if you make a mistake you will not have the time to recover. And the great thing about this format of racing is we've obviously got the battle at the front between Costa, Alberti and Burke and others, but we also have the bubble battle. And I always think, Marco, it's the bubble battle, getting in that top 12 where you really see some excitement. And at the moment, our very own Sam Fitzpatrick, a commentator here on Apex Racing TV, he's the man left without a date at the end of the ball.
Yes, even though look at that Underruti going very, very wide in the grass. The grass, I wish it was grass. In the sand, and losing a little bit of momentum, still keeps his 10th position. But Kevin Finn right now, the best of the amateur drivers, and of course, as we said earlier, we'll say many, many times tonight, the amateurs really want to finish as high as possible and keep the distance to their rivals. And in fact, the closest red mirrored car signaling the amateur class is Mark Silcock in 16th place. So right now Finn would be the only amateur driver to make it past his first heat race.
Well, of course, Dane Baird, who we mentioned, the team boss of Kairos competition, and clearly his team in racing are going to be given much more enjoyment than watching football. But anyway, Dane's logic, who knows. So, lap 2 complete. Pascal Costa, whoa, really pushing while he's pulling a gap, but you can see he's having to work for it there, just putting one wheel onto the dirt there as well, and that'll give Alberti in the 110 car a nice bit of motivation. But it's such a difficult dynamic in the heat racing, Marco, because, you know, every position you make up, you move forward a row on the feature race grid, if you like. But is the risk worth it? But here, obviously, on the bubble, when you're, you know, this is where really you can throw maximum risk at it, or you would choose to.
Yes, it's all a game of risk versus reward, as we have a car in the gravel. Oh man, Isaacson drifting. Oh, he saves it somehow. Now it's going to be a bit sketchy because he rejoins in the braking area. He's able to, only lose a couple of positions. Thankfully for him. But that was a very, very scary moment as they were entering the most dangerous corner of the racetrack.
I think all the drivers did superbly well there to avoid an incident. Very good heads-up driving, good awareness, and yeah, they all get through clean, which, as you say, Marco, that was actually a big surprise that they all got through there clean, because that's not a place you want to go off. Another fastest lap of the race for Pascal Costa, 0.2 of a second quicker than Alberti last time by, and 0.3 quicker than Matthias Burke. So Pascal Costa, who of course missed out at the very last round at VIR in a battle with Kamil Grabowski. Well, he's answering the answering back here at Laguna, and it's funny, isn't it, Marco? Because Laguna Seca is such a difficult circuit. I always find you do get Laguna Seca specialists.
Yeah, this track, rich in history, but I've noticed that you either love it or you hate it, and I mean, driving it, because I don't think you can actually hate Laguna Seca, as a motorsport fan. It certainly has some very unique challenges, and mixed with the high track temperature, we have a bit of argy-bargy again. Underruti makes the move. I think he will be tagged with a slowdown, and he's lifting, and he comes around the outside. It's Kevin Finn. He completes the pass. Here comes Passoni on the inside. The Swiss driver slams the door. And now Kundel is fancying his chances. Fitzpatrick is dropping like a stone. A little bit of contact. No, he's not dropping. I'm being unfair. He's still 13th.
I'm glad you corrected that, Marco, because Sam, he would have had you for that one, so that's good.
I think he's listening to the broadcast. Maybe he listens to the broadcast
while he's driving, probably. That would not surprise me in the slightest if he did that. But yes, absolutely, lots of argy-bargy going on there into the corkscrew, and I actually think Kevin Finn was making a move on Underruti, and they both kind of bundled into the corkscrew side by side, and yeah, that's an interesting one. We'll see how that one plays out over the rest of the race. But at the moment, it's Arturas Kundelis for, I love the team name, Slow and Confused. Well, it's whatever it is, it's working. right now because he has that last ticket to the ball. As you see a big lunge here from Collins on Burke, and look at Grabowski, he's going, oh, maybe back out of this one. He's going to go round the outside at Rainey Curve. That's very brave, but Wayne Rainey was a brave man, and whoa, is that brave or is that silly? Well, leave it up to you to decide that one, but...
It's entertaining.
Entertaining, it's certainly entertaining, we can guarantee that. Collins, that was another near miss there.
Oh, we are cut off.
Whoa.
It's Robin Norberg for Volante Racing, driver. He's not the only one, because of Shaughnessy also is having some issues for Eclipse Racing. So, what happened there? I think Robin a newcomer to the series, because I just, before the race, I was uploading the paints. And for this round, and he was one of the new drivers, and the car behind him lost it a bit. There was a slight of a contact there, Peter, but when you are under braking, especially with these cars, the car is basically pointing forwards, putting all its weight towards the front, because you're going a little bit downhill there, so the smallest of contacts can send you flying in the gravel. That's what happened there, unfortunately.
Definitely, and this car, of course, has no anti-lock braking system, so you are on your own. You've got a lovely feel on the pedal, but if you just put that little bit too much, oh, that's what the inside of the front of a Porsche looks like. Oh my word. Bryn Collins there getting, if there wasn't contact, I'd be surprised, but yes, this car, no anti-lock braking system, so if you just put a little bit too much brake pressure in, you will lock up the wheels, and that's where we can see incidents, and that was an example of it there. Leandro Antaruti dropped back a position there, gone off circuit a little bit, in fact around the same part of the circuit as last time. Yeah,
Antaruti I think cut the corkscrew, and now there's a bit of traffic jam, and there's a car hard into the wall. That's Antaruti himself, so disaster for him.
Oh dear, that looked a very, very hard hit with the wall there. Now, did he fall or was he pushed? So we'll get a look at what happened first of all. So he's leading the little group here, leading Kevin Finn, going into the corkscrew, over the curbs they goes. Yes, brake, there you go, there's one of those lock up, just a little bit too much brake pressure, slides down the sand pit. Now. He will have surfed a slowdown if he had one. Now, did he get a help? Or did he just loop it up on the power? Yeah, there you go. That horrible green artificial grass, that painted surface there on the exit of the final corner. Too much mustard and into the wall.
Yes, that you know, one of the most highly requested features in iRacing history has been to make that part of the track available and not an off track. iRacing finally listened after like 15 years. In the last update, but of course it has its drawbacks. You know, the grip there is absolutely not the same as the racetrack, which is saying something, considering that usually the grip around Laguna Seca is at a premium to begin with on the tarmac.
Yes, it's a very, very slick circuit, very sandy surface as well, of course, here in just outside Salinas in Monterey, California. Beautiful Monterey, and a historic circuit here. They've been racing here since 1957, and the first event was won by Pete Lovely in a Ferrari.
Fight for the top 12, with now a little bit of a break between Nogaj and Norberg after the Swedish driver was off earlier. Let's see, of course, he is now trying to close back, but you know, he gained at 1.2 seconds lap 6, lost 7/10 of a second lap 7. So let's see the sectors in this particular lap, and they are pretty much equal. So far doesn't seem like he can challenge for the top 12, especially considering that we are getting closer and closer to the white flag, which is only a few minutes away, only 4 minutes until the end of the scheduled 15 minutes of this race.
Well, we've got a few drivers making their way forward. Whoa, we've got a driver going sideways there. That's Joseph Saul, the Apex Racing League Mazda Cup champion, onto the gravel there. The AM champion, I should say, of Apex Racing Mazda Cup. Just losing it there, going into the corkscrew. So easy to do. He just got past Anderuti, and does he miss his braking point? Let's see, we might actually see it. Oh yeah, just too much brake pressure, too much mustard, and the 4-litre flat 6 in the back of that car just overtakes him. Now, looking at Mateusz Nogaj, has something happened to him too? Oh, gives a little tap to the back of Sam Fitzpatrick there. I'm sure Sam will be delighted about that. Dearie me. Well, a little bit of a consolation prize for Anderuti. Now that wall has been hit by a number of drivers, but no less memorably than I think it was 2009 when Jörg Bergmeister and Jan Magnussen raced to the line together, and Jan hit that wall and completely destroyed his Corvette.
Also, was that 20?
Was it 2010?
No, I remember also like 2017 or 2018. At the beginning of the race, there was a massive pileup in the IMSA race in that particular corner. It involved a couple of prototypes and a Ford, a Porsche. There was a wheel that went off from one of the cars and rolled all the way down the hill. It was at the very start of the race, you know, because someone put the power down a bit too early. There was contact next to the wall and all hell broke loose, basically. It was, yeah, I think it was 2018. Yes, the IMSA race in 2018.
So you must have watched that, what, last week, Marco?
A couple of months ago, yes.
I love it. I love it. Now Mark Silcock is on the move here, and with I tell you what, with a few things going his way, he could maybe get himself into the top 12. He needs stuff to happen in front of him here, but he's going to try and have a move on Anderuti. But of course, even if you're not getting into the top 12 and progressing to the feature automatically, the more positions you can go up, the better the grid spot you have for the consolation race.
I think that Noborg has finally caught up to this train. So for Nogaj, you know, the relative calmness he had earlier is over, as they keep on fighting there at the front with the Kairos competition car leading the way. And of course, every driver in this little group knows, Peter, that one mistake and they are probably out. And Noborg makes the move side by side, little bit of contact, and Nogaj keeps the position for now.
Very close. Whoa! The spin there for Noborg and for Nogaj. Good. They both spin around. Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, that's not what they need. But actually, they've got such a gap back. So Noborg is going to go into the top 12 and Nogaj has gone out.
That is one way of making a pass, I would say. Let's grab it from high above. They almost make contact. Noborg spins and probably bamboozles the Polish driver, poor Mateusz, into spinning, you know, to avoid being hit there, basically. So,
wow,
incredible.
That was...
I mean, and I have to say, incredible stroke of luck for Sam Fitzpatrick, who, I don't know if he deserves to be there, but thanks to this stroke of luck, he will punch his ticket to the main event.
You make your own luck, I always say. I think.
Oh,
this might get busy. Oh, it's not done yet. Kevin Finn spins around. So does Passoni. Oh no no. Well, Mark Silcock might get in after all, but here comes Pascal Costa. A nice, flawless, lonely race for the German. He wins from Alberti and Burke on the podium. Bring Collins in fourth. Grabowski coming home in fifth.
Dennis is wounded.
Who wants this last spot? Arturas Candelas and Simone Passioni is going to be the last guy without a ticket to the ball, but Arturas Candelas is going very slow. Is he letting it by? I think he might be. But look, here comes Anderuti. Is he going to get it? No. It is going to be Passioni get that last spot in the feature race. What a bizarre finish, Marco.
Yeah, there was a lunge at the top of the hill.
Candelas.
Yeah, and all hell broke loose, basically.
Now, I will say that was a bit lucky for Sam.
Yes. So, this is it for the first hit of the night. Let's see quickly the results, and then even more quickly the grid for race 2. Here we go.
So, confirming then, Pascal Costa, Andrea Alberti, Matthias Burke, Bryn Collins, Camille Grabowski, Lewis Ward, Niels Erik Isaacson, Sam Fitzpatrick, Kevin Finn, Robin Norborg, Matthias Nogash, and Simone Passoni, confirming your top 12 there who go through to the feature, the rest to the consolation race. Josh Thompson and Nick Madsen start on the front row of the grid for the second heat, with Roger Christensen and Ross Steele on row 2. Matthias Jensen, Joe Vegard, Godderstad, Thomas Wangen, Tor Bervin, Thomas Torp and Sindre Silva round out the top 10, with Max Kessler and Paul Lange rounding out your 6th row. Matt Chambers and Mark Hutchison start on row 7, and you can hear the revs are rising. 4-litre flat 6 rattling off the rev limiter. Off we go for another 15 minutes of racing here in California. It's a perfect start from Josh Thompson's for Williams Esports down into the into the Andretti hairpin. Wrong American racing legend there. We'll get to the Rahal straight in a moment. Looking back at Nick Madsen, our Series 1 champion, who's got away cleanly as well, with Christensen in 3rd.
Yeah, sorry about the quick grid, but you know, there is no time. Sometimes, as we have, look at the amount of Norwegian drivers in a row that we have. I mean, apart from Christensen, who's, you know, Dylan Jensen away, and then we have, now Berven has been overtaken by Lange, so, you know. But, I mean, it was very satisfying while it lasted.
Indeed, yes, and we've got a Manxman at the front, a man from the Isle of Man, Josh Thompson. Brilliant place, the Isle of Man. No speed limits outside of the town, which is just perfect. My kind of place. Low tax rate as well. I think Nigel Mansell used to live on the Isle of Man.
I think he did, yeah.
So, Josh Thompson away at the lead. Matt Chambers, we're looking at now, he's the man in 13th position.
Oh, carrying the wall.
At the wall, Hallberg. Oh dear, looked like you got a bit of a nudge there, did Kim Hallberg. One of our Norwegians. Thankfully, if you're a Norwegian fan, then don't worry, you've got plenty of other drivers to call for. But oh, that looked like a little bit of a nudge on the exit of the final corner.
Should have a replay. There we go. There was no one close to him, unless there was a massive dive here. He made close friends with the gravel, and unfortunately for him, with the concrete wall.
Well, that's going to make qualifying for the feature very difficult. In fact, it's also going to make getting a good spot for the consolation race difficult as well. But Ross Steele for Vector. Now, I like that team. Vector by RSR. Now, RSR, of course, a moniker which is absolutely iconic for Porsche fans. And of course, in fact, the first ever IMSA race here in 1974 was won by the Porsche Carrera RSR of Elliot Forbes Robinson. So there's something about those 3 special letters.
Oh yeah, and of course, I'm quite sure that all of our viewers know how much of a Porsche historian you are, Peter. So,
well, I had the absolute privilege of speaking with Timo Bernard for the Porsche Sport podcast a couple of weeks ago, and it came out yesterday. And Timo, I mean, you've 5-time Nürburgring 24-hour winner, the Nürburgring lap record holder, of course, and twice Le Mans winner. And actually he won here a few times in the RS Spider Porsche as well.
Well, Lange went past Sindre Silva. Lange is now sitting in 9th place. Again, we see one of the amateur drivers being much quicker than the rest of the field. And Paul Lange would score a very good starting position and points. Don't forget, for the heat races there are points on offer. There are no points on offer for the consolation. course, the bulk of the points will be awarded in the main event. But still, you can. It's like a double pleasure, so to speak. You know, get a good starting position for the main event. Oh dear, you see a car, and then you know, score points and you leave your amateur rivals behind.
Well, Paul Langa might have to leave his overalls behind, because that was a massive slide there coming out of the final corner. That was Francois, oh, and again, Francois Delacour-esque there from Paul Langa, but he held it beautifully. When these cars break away, they really are tough to catch, because that 4-litre flat-six engine is quite a big engine, and it's hung out over the back wheels, so when the car starts to rotate, you've really got to be on top of it quickly. And it looked there, Marco, like Tor Berven had a little bit of a excursion at the Andretti hairpin.
Yeah. And so did Lange and Silva in front of them. But we stay on this fight because now they will have to sort themselves out before the left-hander, which is usually trouble. Oh, and that's Silva off.
Oh dear. Well, look at this band of Evo SR machines. There's a whole gang of them here. Chambers and Hutchison and, whoa, Levi Johnson. He's off as well, and that'll be, whoa, big one! Big one, big one, big one there for Matty Chambers. Huge, huge spin coming out of Rainy Curve, and that's so fast there. Has to be careful rejoining here, but he's got a space to do it. That's good. But my word, that was a quick one there for Chambers.
Yeah, and this breaks a bit the fight for P12, because now Tor Berben has got around a second, no, less than a second, but half a second over Max Wolf. And behind them, James Parker is the next driver in line. So yeah, we still have a bit of drivers that can still hunt for the top 12. And we have seen in race 1, it's not over until it's over, which it was exemplified by that collision we had up the hill at the Corkscrew. So with 6 minutes and a half on the clock, we are basically halfway through this race number 2, the second heat of the night. Top 12 goes through straight to the feature. The rest will participate in the Brawl for All, that is the consolation race. And Josh Thompson, after securing second place.
Oh no, I don't like the look of this, Marco.
Yeah.
Oh, that's close. Well, the tax rate might be low, and the no speed limits outside the town might be fantastic, but I don't know what the internet's like on the Isle of Man.
Yeah, you know, we have this problem. I mean, in Italy we have internet problems even in the big cities like Rome, where I live. But of course, it goes without saying, the more you go outside of the big cities here in Italy, the worse your internet. I mean, I still know friends that have, you know, one down, 100 kilobyte up internet connections in Italy in 2021. So, you know. But you know, back in the days, I used to race with the 56k connection in Grand Prix Legends with almost no issues. So these guys at iRacing know to build a network infrastructure even for the worst connection. But still, if you drop your connection, there is nothing that can save you. So Josh Thompson, hopefully, I think should be okay now. But crossing his fingers, even whilst driving, not have a connection drop, which would be a disaster for him right now.
Yes, that would be really unlucky, because he is absolutely tearing away from the pack, tearing away from Nick Madsen now. Over 3 seconds the gap after just 8 minutes of racing. Absolutely extraordinary. Of course, Nick Madsen, our champion in season 1 of the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup. And well, there's something about the... Whoa! Tor Berven loses it! Now that's critical. That allows Max Wolf in. There we go, and Parker goes by as well. And I think Silva too. Oh dear. So Tor Berven's given himself a huge amount of work to do if he wants to get through to the feature, but that's going to be very hard work. And Max Wolf, overall top 10 finisher in last week's feature race, he's up into the dancing positions.
Yes, absolutely crucial for Wolf. And let's see if Parker can profit. This could be crucial for the Amateur Championship, and the way, in a more short term, the way the points are distributed among the amateur drivers for this round, because, you know, one of these two drivers could potentially miss. Right now it's Parker, the ticket for the main race, and of course, you know, it's, you know, I would say it also gives you a little bit of peace of mind to be already qualified for the main event. You can relax, you can enjoy the consolation, you know. And I always think about you know, the drivers that, you know, qualify in it one, then they have to sit through it two and sit through the consolation. What you know, do you think it has a negative effect on them? Like, you know, basically, you know, sitting still for more than half an hour waiting for the main event, whilst other drivers are battling on the track?
It's an interesting one, Marco. I think, well, certainly in terms of enjoyment, they can go and make themselves a coffee and watch the action here on Apex Racing TV, so that's nice. And also the advantage of that gives you get to see what how the track's playing, where are the danger spots, perhaps, where is there maybe a corner which is attracting more incidents than normal. But yeah, I think you're right. The disadvantage is that unless, of course, the drivers can go off and do a little bit of private practice, but yeah, you don't want to get kind of stiff and kind of out of sync. It's an interesting one, but I certainly, whatever happens, I'd want to be in the feature race and not have to go through, like you say, the bar brawl that is the where there are no rules, that is the consolation race.
Yeah, and for example, one of the drivers, Sam Fitzpatrick, is you know, in the chat waiting for race 2. He's heaping praise upon praise about certain guys driving in race 1. Of course, he's talking about himself. Someone is not very happy about it and doesn't agree with him.
I'm not going there. I'm not getting involved. Not getting involved. I think Sam did deserve his position in the feature race, I will say. Although, and actually did well to avoid the melee that was going in front of him at the corkscrew. And picked up a couple of positions. But yes, maybe a bit of good fortune, but you make your own luck, I always say. Anyway, Max Wolf, his teammate for Evo SR, is pulling away from James Parker here and putting some critical distance with just over 3 minutes to go between himself and a position. Well, at the moment, it's one position separates him from a comfy spot in the feature or a horrible position going through the consolation. And at the moment, that's what James Parker will be desperately trying to avoid.
Yes, and Parker is trying to defend from Sindre Silva, who's coming back after his mistake earlier. It's going to be a bit tough for Silva to make it to the main event, given that he has to make 2 overtakes, which is doable, but of course it's, especially around this place, high risk maneuver every time. So we'll see how it goes with him. In the front of the field, Josh Thompson leads from Nick Madsen. Matthias Jensen, Ross Dill and Roger Christiansen leads the foursome of Norwegian drivers. As we were saying, it's Paul Lange that together with Max Wolf will be the lone amateur, so in reality 2 amateur drivers to make it out of this heat race, as Sindre Silva is really aggressive, makes the move, and now he gives himself a fighting chance. There will be 2 more laps after this one.
Okay, so it's game on. Now, normally when you're in the AM class, you know the drivers in your class, because all of the drivers in the AM class, their number begins with a 2, and if they're in the pro class, their number begins with a 1. So if you see a driver come up behind you with a 1 at the start and you're in the AM class, it's not very pleasant. But unless your name is Max Wolf, because clearly his performance at Road Atlanta last week showed that he is quite happy to run up there with the pros. So can he hang on to this last invite? But tell you what, Marco, just through that opening section, Sindre Silva is flying.
Yeah, let's enjoy some Laguna Seca, panoramas and views from the inside of his car as he tries to hunt down Max Wolf.
Oh, this is just fantastic. And also, you can hear the glorious sound of a Porsche 6-cylinder motor. Flat 6-cylinder boxer configuration, and it's the most distinctive sound. And Sindri Silva, oh, I thought he was going to let the brake off there and have a go, but Max Wolf shut the door just in time, swooping through Rainy Curve here, named after the great Wayne Rainey, multiple motorcycle world champion, an absolute legend of the sport. And then round into the final corner here, turn 11, you've got to be very careful on the exit. Sindri Silva super late on the brakes there, gassing up the power onto using all the painted surface and more again there. That's surely an off-track incident point added to his tally there. But Silva is in the draft. Is he going to be able to make a move here down into the Andretti hairpin? Kind of double left-hander here as well. Little mistake for Wolf, little bit of a slide. And whoa, another slide, asks for the power. You've got nearly 500 horsepower in these cars and absolutely no traction control to dial it out as well. So you are on your own. It's your feet and your hands that are keeping you out of the barrier. And Max Wolf keeping himself out the barrier and keeping himself in the feature race at this point. And still Silva is in that horrible, unlucky 13th position. A little bit of damage there on the front of the car, but not enough to cause too much of an issue. Up we go onto the Rahal Straight for the final time, and Max Wolf is under serious pressure here as well. This could shake out once more. Coming into the corkscrew, Max Wolf goes very, very defensive, shuts the door hard on Silva. Do they make contact? No, they get through clean down towards Rainy Curve. Josh Thompson is your winner by a postcode from Nick Madsen. But back to our bubble battle, and Max Wolf still hanging on. There's one last chance for Sindri Silva. Into the final corner they go. He's going to go around the outside. Oh my goodness me, this is audacious. Max Wolf very politely gives him the room, and Silva can't get it done. Max Wolf gets the last spot in the feature race. Wow.
Fantastic stuff.
Finish, Marco.
Fantastic stuff. Wolf holding off for dear life, and he was able to keep the pro driver at bay and punch the ticket for the main event. Sindri Silva, of course, will be certainly one of the drivers to watch in the consolation race, which is about to start. Congratulations to Paul Lange, sorry. Mark Lange is a Sim Racer Stage driver. Paul Lange is driver here in Apex Racing Academy Championship. One from Germany, one from Singapore, so no relation between the pair of them, I think. And I remember because Mark Lange was the great inventor of the F3 versus Lotus 79 series a few seasons ago, which, believe it or not, provided some amazing racing. And it was a pleasure to broadcast.
That does sound like my kind of seat. Throw a Riley in there as well, and I'm there. My lovely Riley. So confirming then your drivers progressing through to the feature race automatically. Josh Thompson, Nick Madsen, Matthias Jensen, Ross Steele, Roger Christensen, Thomas Wangen, Joe Vergaard, Godderstad, Thomas Torp, Paul Lange, Max Kessler, Mark Hutchison, and Max Wolf hanging on to that very last spot in the feature race, automatically at least. But there are 6 spots up for grabs in this consolation race, and Arturas Candelas and Sindri Silva will start on the front row of the grid with Leandro Anderuti and James Parker on the second row. The revs are starting to rise, and off we go. We are racing here in the consolation race. Just 10 minutes, just 6 spaces to go through, and who is going to take them? It looks like Silva might get the opportunity here into the Andretti hairpin, and look at Anderuti want to hook it right around the outside. He's not going to quite get it done. Is he going to get second place? No. And he touch! They touch, and he takes Candelas with him. Oh, wow. And then, wow, no, nearly had it, but not quite. Oh, Marco, I thought Candelas had caught that one, and just when he wanted to get back going again, just too much mustard.
Yeah, too bad there. This opens basically another spot, because Todd Kunderis was one of the heavy favorites for the top 6. Well, that is no more for him, because in 10 minutes basically there is no time to make it back. So this gives an extra spot. But look at these drivers, it's, as I was saying earlier, no Sbardo with a massive speed for Mervin. He's in the middle of the track. They avoid him somehow. Crazy stuff. Oh, big contact up the hill.
Oh, no. That's not good news. I wonder, was that teammates there in Evo SR? It might have been. It just maybe the way they all spun across the screen there. But oh, well, the Consolation race living up to form. Whoa, we've got another driver off there, big time in the background. Dearie me, that might have been McCauley. Yes, it was. Dearie me. So Kev Copeland, front runner in the AM class last season, and well, not going well for him today. As Bervin goes off in the background. So Chambers, is he going to get a help? Oh, it's actually triggered. Oh dear. Well, that's awkward. It looked like it was triggered there by Copeland, but I could be mistaken.
So top 6 right now, Silva. We have Silcock, Sol, Parker, Förster and Jones. And then in 7th place it's Kevin Stringer. And as you can see, a decent amount of red, and all these drivers know if they want to hold on in the championship and not lose too much ground, they need to make it into this top 6. And so far, Macaulay, Chambers, Humphrey and Ely are all off. Mundelis is still running, even though with big damage, as you can see here, but he gains a position because Berven, again, not liking the particular corner. So Mundelis up into P13. He is 15 seconds away from a transfer spot, and we have 7 minutes left in the race.
Anything can happen in the Consolation race. That's one thing that we've come to learn. My word, as Sindri Silva slaps in the fastest lap of the race, and then Silcock goes 0.4 of a second quicker. And Mark Silcock can pull out these performances from seemingly nowhere. It can be quite quiet for a couple of rounds, and then whang, he just puts in a fantastic performance. I remember, Marco, Silcock snatching the AM class championship in GT4 and the ARL GT trophy last season out of absolutely nowhere. So he just knows when to switch it on.
And you know, sometimes when you have these leagues like this, that you have, you know, reverses, consolations, etc. Sometimes, oh, we have a contact at the front, and 2 of the top 6 drivers are off. Ah no, sorry, that was Macaulay, so a lapped car.
Oh no, that's gutting for James Parker. So yes, there's Joe Macaulay, and you can see, I think that is Chambers behind him flashing the lights, and Macaulay, well, that's a really difficult one, Marco, because Macaulay just running on the line, trying to be predictable, I suppose, but didn't quite work out.
So now Anderuti up into 6th, thanks to that incident. My, these consolation races, as you were saying earlier, they are never over, and the drivers, you know, once they see themselves in the top 6, probably, especially the higher portion, maybe they think, okay, let's make a pass, let's gain a position on the grid, especially around here. And the route goes very wide. He still has a bit of a buffer to Kevin Stringer behind him, so he should be okay. But Sol and Forster are going at it hard for the final spot on the consolation podium.
Yeah, and if they go at it hard, we know what can possibly happen, of course. And you know that Dominic Forster, of course, he's got a lot more to do. He's in the pro class, don't forget. Joseph Sol is in the AM class. So for Forster, he's got a much higher mountain to climb here. For Sol, he's probably pretty happy. Get into the feature race and try and score some big points from there. He's only got one AM class rival ahead of him at the moment, which is Mark Silcock. As we see, whoa, a bit of a move there. Craig Jones and Anderuti having a little bit of a side-by-side action there into the corkscrew. So Anderuti actually moving forward rather than back, and Stringer has dropped off the scent.
Yeah, Anderuti avoided that collision at the very first in the very first lap. Now goes on the inside of Jones. Gets the job done. Now Joseph Sol and Forster side by side, with Forster trying to make the pass. He has the inside. Now, easy to say it from here, but there is no need to risk, of course, in this position. Because these 4 drivers are a bit in front of the 7th place driver, but again, easy to say it from here. You know, course, you have great experience in this car, and you raced in the championship last season. It was a bit of a different format, and mostly you were driving and fighting against Dane Bird.
Yes, to say it didn't go well would be an understatement. Apart from when, funnily enough, when I raced with Dane, I managed to keep him behind me by being a roadblock. Only reason I was battling with him in the first place was because he'd gone off much farther ahead of me, and I managed to somehow keep him behind us. Oh, one of the Evo SR goes off. That's Saul. Oh, now. Oh, that changes everything. So Joseph Saul, who was sitting in third, dropped back to sixth, and now he's in danger from Stringer in seventh. If he drops one more place, he's out.
I think we might get... no, I shouldn't make fun of Dane, because on Saturday I'm going to miss a broadcast for the exact same reason, but let's say that the half-time break, the score isn't exactly nice towards Manchester United.
Well, I would give you more of an answer, Marco, if I cared about football. Not my favourite sport. I'm quite vocal about that. But I tell you what's interesting here, Marco, is that Sindri Silva and Mark Silcock are huge, miles ahead of the rest. Only, 6 seconds back from Silcock to Forster.
See the time delta? No, not this one. This one. Yeah. And Silcock, despite being an amateur driver, is certainly showing the importance of being quick and having no one around you, because he's doing his own race, whilst behind him, Forster and the Ruti, Jones, Sol, they are going at it. They've been going at it for the whole consolation race, as Kundelis is off again, and I think that's it for him. That's the end of his. How things can change in a heartbeat. He was safely in the main event.
Oh, that's just typical Laguna. Oh, and blows the engine as well.
Yeah.
Dearie me. Typical Laguna. You just put just one tiny little inch off the circuit and whang, you're into a concrete wall before you know where you are. Oh, good move there from Anderuti up the inside of Forster. So Anderuti making some really good moves here. And trying to revenge his earlier disappointment. And of course, that's what makes the consolation race so interesting, I suppose, Marco, because there's so many drivers who maybe shouldn't be here, but have maybe had bad luck or made mistakes or whatever. So they feel like they're not panicking is maybe not the right word, but they're desperate to kind of equalise the situation and make up for it.
Yes, and this sometimes can lead to unpredictable racing, mistakes. I have to say that tonight the racing has been mostly very, very clean, and of course in the consolation race there's a bit more of a sense of urgency, so to speak. Yeah. So I completely agree with you. That's what makes the consolation. It's on the one end it's the land of opportunity, but on the other end it's that scarecrow at the back of your mind when you begin the evening of racing. Say, I don't want to be there.
Yes, it's I'm sure it's fun while you're in it, or it's either going to be fun or stressful. I think it depends on your approach. But anyway, Sindri Silva missed out by a whisker for automatic entry to the feature, but he's got his ticket to the show now. He is your winner by a handful of seconds from Mark Silcock, and we've got a bit to wait for Anderuti in third. Now, who is going to get this last spot? I think it's just going to be Joseph Saul. It is. It's just going to be Joseph Saul from Stringer and O'Shaughnessy, and very, very close for that last spot in the feature race. And I tell you what, quite a few high-profile exits there. Bob Humphrey, Matty Chambers, and Kev Copeland, and Kundelis all out.
Yeah. And so this is the consolation race, and we are just waiting on a couple of drivers who are lagging behind. There's Nathan Ely, who's going very slowly, enjoying his last lap of the evening. So why not take it in,
Get your money's worth, I always say.
Exactly. And now, as soon as this consolation is over, we will pause for 5 minutes because drivers have, you know, especially for the drivers that, as we were saying earlier, have been sitting on their hands since, you know, the beginning or, you know, the end of the first heat race. We have a little bit of a warm-up, and so we will send it to our good friends at VRS for a little bit of a message from them. Back in a second.
Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfalla.
And Ray Alfalla is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.
Welcome back to Apex Racing TV, where we are preparing for the feature race here in the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup Championship. My name is Peter Mackay. I'm bringing all the action to you this evening alongside Marco Barbanera, pulling double duty in commentary booth and production booth, a man of many talents. So you can see the drivers are having a bit of fun in warm-up before we get going for this main event. This is where the big points are handed out. And who is going to take the win here? Josh Thompson, the man with the pace so far tonight, but will it work out? Will he get his 3rd win in a row? Well, he'll have to get past Pascal Costa first, who starts from pole position alongside the Manxman Josh Thompson. Andrea Alberti and Nick Madsen start from row 2, with Matthias Burke and Matthias Jensen right behind them. Bryn Collins and Ross Deal start 7th and 8th, with Camille Grabowski and Roger Christensen rounding out the top 10. Lewis Ward will start 11th alongside Thomas Wangen. Niels Erik Isaacson will start 13th, followed by Joe Vergaard Godderstad, Sam Fitzpatrick, Thomas Torp, and Kevin Finn leading the way in AM, but he'll have his AM class rival Paul Langer right alongside him on the 9th row of the grid. Robin Noborg and Max Kessler round out your top 20. Matthias Nogaj will start from 21st beside Mark Hutchison, with Simone Passoni starting from 23rd and Max Wolf from 24th on the grid. Sindri Silva, Mark Silcock, Leandro Anderuti, Dominic Forster, Craig Jones and Joseph Saul round out your 30-car grid. The revs are rattling away off the rev limiter, and off we go for the feature race, and it's a rocking start from Pascal Costa, but it's a horror show for Josh Thompson, and Alberti has picked the pocket of the Manxman as we go into the Andretti hairpin. And is Thompson going to lose another position there to Matthias Burke? No, he's not. And is he going to try and, oh my goodness, opportunist move there. Alberti fast asleep, and Josh Thompson picks his pocket straight back again. Costa leads, Thompson right behind.
Yeah, Thompson had to make the move, but doesn't want to let Costa go away. Oh, we have a massive wreck for Alberti.
Oh, no, no, no. Andrea Alberti, it all started so well, and he's blown his engine. That's his day done. Oh, what a pity.
Yeah, he went straight into the wall.
Well, you can already see Pascal Costa and Josh Thompson breaking away from the pack. Bryn Collins in third right now with Deal. Ross Deal in fourth, vector by RSR, and Nick Madsen. Oh, dearie me. Ross Deal has a bit of a mistake there, but does the clever thing, holds the brake, and actually doesn't even make contact with another driver or the wall. That was lucky.
It was, and now he has to fight, try to make it back. Costa, Thompson, chaotic first lap. By the way, didn't have the lap counter on for the entire night. Here we go, lap 1. We have a bit of a traffic jam there at the back. Now, where is Kevin Finn?
28th position, so problems for Kevin Finn. Now, the car, that very pretty Kairos competition livery, it looks fine, so maybe just a spin. So he's come down through Rainy Curve, through turn 10. Oh! Now, did he get a little bit of a love tap there? And, oh, it all happens in front of him. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
Unlucky there. Wrong place, wrong time. You know, nowhere he could go, unfortunately.
Good thing is he won't have damage on the car, and there's going to be quite a few drivers in front of him who do. So that's maybe a crumb of comfort, but no such problem for Lange, leading the AM class in 15th. His nearest competitor in class, Max Wolf, in 21st. But what a start this has been from Pascal Costa. Josh Thompson for Williams Esports, right, well, I was going to say right behind. No, that wouldn't be true, but half a second at the moment. So it's just been a rocking start from Pascal Costa. We know he has this kind of pace, but just bringing it out tonight. Good start for Kamil Grabowski as well, up to 6th place, Marco.
Yes, let's see the Thompson gets the fastest lap of the race. Let's see the gain so far, and you can see +4 for Collins, +5 for Isaacson, and the route is +10. Biggest loser, I think, of all the field is the aforementioned Kevin Finn. Big hit to his amateur title bid. He needs to make a comeback and make it happen in the remaining 60 minutes we have tonight.
Well, I would put money on him doing so, and I'm not a betting man. He's been so impressive so far this season, has Kevin Finn. Hello to you all here on Apex Racing TV. I hope you're enjoying the show so far. Hello to Bruno Belme from Martinique. I hope you're enjoying it. Dennis Branch as well, a part of the Apex team. Hello, and also Porsche Sport in the comments as well. Do let us know where you're watching from, who you're cheering for, and most importantly, what are you drinking watching the broadcast? And don't pretend you're not.
I mean, easy, you know, you can get easy points if you guess what I've been drinking during race 1.
Coffee.
Of course, yes.
I was about to say Sambuca, but it's maybe a bit early for that just yet.
I don't drink on the job.
No, me neither, actually. As contrary to popular belief, I don't. Although it's just a natural thing that Scottish people sound slightly inebriated the whole time. Pascal Costa, really impressive here. He's managing this gap beautifully, and him and Josh Thompson are beginning to pull away from Bryn Collins in 3rd position. Nick Madsen in 4th. And Paul Lange now has the attention of Ross Deal, and Ross Deal is a little bit out of position there, Marco, of course, running right up the sharp end, but that mistake at the corkscrew has given him a lot of work to do.
I'm noticing that Paul Lange's got the default livery with a special spec map, so I will need to investigate that as the person in charge of the paints. I'm, you know, self-admonishing myself, because something is not right. It looks cool, because it gives the default Porsche livery a metallic vibe, but certainly, we have a bit of a off for Rosdil again. And in the meantime, here comes Silva. Contact with Kessler, and Kessler makes the pass. Silva jumps in the middle of the track. People avoiding action as best as they can. And now we have Nogash spinning as well in front of everyone. And again, fantastic avoiding action from the field. Great job tonight. We have avoided a couple of big ones thanks to some very heads-up driving.
Oh, well, yeah, some very good heads-up driving indeed, Marco. You're right. Not really so. There from Silva, just getting a little bit impatient there, just snip the nose off Kessler. Kessler is holding his line, but tell you what, Josh Thompson saying no more Mr. Nice Guy, no more of that. Oof, really pushing hard now to try and close down the gap from Pascal Costa and set another purple lap time last time by, and these guys are really pushing away from Bryn Collins, and you wonder, Marco, if perhaps Costa and Thompson here might just hold position until they've got a good margin ahead and then begin the punch up for the win.
Yeah, in Road Atlanta, Thompson was very quick. Oh dear. You know, the North Korean regime doesn't want me to show this, but I think Sam Fitzpatrick had an off.
Uh-oh. Well, he did ask for TV time, and he's getting it. What has happened to our esteemed colleague Sam Fitzpatrick? Too much mustard on the...
I thought he crashed. He only lost a position.
Well, I tell you what, that any other driver other than a BSR Winter Series Radical Champion, and that would have been a crash. Anyway, back at the front, long away from Sam Fitzpatrick, Pascal Costa still leads, but Josh Thompson is trying everything now. Now, is he going to try this cunning move into turn 3 that he tried or successfully completed on Alberti? No, Josh Thompson not quite able to get it done, but Pascal Costa really under the pressure here now from Thompson. Good, thanks to you all for telling us what you've been drinking. Coffee for Dennis Branch, beer for Alan Pask. I like Alan Pask's choice. Tor Anders Bergman says, I don't dare to say what I'm drinking right now. Well, Tor, it's I know it's been a hard night, so whatever it is you're drinking, you've earned it.
Thompson's connection not playing nicely again. We saw him being showered by a ton of little bits of gravel, but he was very close at the beginning of the previous lap. It was Thompson to Costa, but not anymore. I mean, still very close, 0.3 of a second, but let's see behind, they are still keeping their distance and pulling away from Collins. Now could be a good chance.
Be, and of course you can go around the outside here at the Andretti hairpin, and I think that's what Josh Thompson is going to try. Now, can he get around? Oh, Costa bobbles over the curb. This could really cost him. Josh Thompson's got the inside line. Through he goes to the lead. Well, that was maybe a bit of a could have been a bit matter of if rather than when, or when rather than if, I should say. And Pascal Costa nearly runs Thompson out onto the dust there as well. They go side by side. Thompson, is he going to hang on to it? And this is Christmas come early for Bryn Collins. Look at that. He's pulling huge chunks of time. He's pulled a second out of them in virtually a lap. Thompson hits the front, but Costa, well, he's got to do a bit of a Troy Bayliss / Valentino Rossi here. He's got to snap back, because if he lets Josh Thompson get into a rhythm, he'll be gone.
Yeah, and I see a little bit of damage on the front of his car, of Costa's car. Not big, but still I see front left. Nothing major, especially with these cars that are used to taking a bigger beating. As I say that, Costa goes in the gravel, loses a couple of spots, and gives away the podium.
Oh no, well, that is a disaster for Pascal Costa. Was looking so strong all night long, and this is going to be really difficult for him now, because it's not so much the time, only 2 seconds up to Josh Thompson, but it's more the drivers. He's got surrounded by him again, bullied out the way there by Matthias Burke, and Kamil Grabowski, his old sparring partner, getting in there as well. But Bryn Collins, after all that, Bryn Collins is now right on the tail of Josh Thompson.
Yeah, there we are, a slow car there on the left, a lap car letting everyone by. Andrea Alberti took his faster pair. Now he's towed back to the pits. So Thompson from Collins, Madsen third, Burke and then Costa in the top 5, Grabowski and Jensen.
Well, this is a great opportunity for Bryn Collins. Now this reminds me of, now I love MotoGP, Motorcycle Grand Prix racing, which is, it doesn't come to Laguna Seca anymore, but it in the not too distant past it did. And one of the classic races here was Valentino Rossi against Casey Stoner in 2008, and Casey Stoner very much playing the role of Josh Thompson right now. Very, very fast, definitely the fastest on pace. But Valentino Rossi is able to pull a very much an audacious overtaking maneuver and then basically parked it on each apex and used the advantage, used it to his advantage, that it's difficult to overtake here at Laguna Seca. Now, can Bryn Collins be the Valentino Rossi of ARA Porsche Cup? We shall see. I would say not, because, oh, Josh Thompson absolutely hanging it all out there, knowing he's got an opportunity to make a breakaway, and he's pulled 0.7 of a second in the last lap.
Behind them there is a bit of a fight there. It's of course Costa trying to get the positions back, defending as well from Grabowski and Jensen. So not his comeback has not been smooth sailing. Au contraire, he's been under attack from the drivers that are behind him now. So maybe the podium could be a long shot, especially because we are only 8 minutes away from the end of the race. Thompson leads the way in front of Collins and Madsen. Let's see if Madsen is closing in on Collins. Last lap, yes, let's see this lap number 9 as they go on the start-finish straight once again. And drum roll please. Equal time, so not really gaining.
Just an update on our AM class battle. Max Wolf leading the way in 18th overall, but as you can see, he has very much the attention of Simone Passoni right behind him, who is in the Pro class, don't forget. But they're going to battle for position. Now, Kevin Finn, second in class, 21st overall, of course involved very much an innocent bystander in that incident early on. I think it was actually even on lap 1, but he's been able to progress from 28th all the way up to 21st and pulling time and positions out of his AM class rivals. We see Thomas Wangen, losing out there to Nürburgring. Well, can't wait till we go and race at the Nürburgring. We can call it the Nürburgring. Californian tumbleweed there for you folks. Whip it.
I've took my time to learn about the history of tumbleweed, and I didn't know how much of a nuisance and an invasive species they are, and how detrimental they are to the economy of the United States, especially the middle part of the United States. Very interesting stuff.
Much like bad jokes, obviously.
I mean, you see the town, you say, "Oh, look at the tumbleweed." It's a, classic imagery of the Western, Midwest United States. No, but in reality, they are, they are so difficult to get rid of, and again, and they have also a big problem. They are extremely flammable. So basically, they are the main culprits for some of the biggest fires we've seen in the last few decades in the United States.
Maybe that's why people feel they've got to tell a joke to cheer up, possibly, and that's why Tumbleweed came in. Anyway, Josh Thompson leads. Now, interestingly, he's pulled a gap of about 1.2 seconds or so quite quickly, and it's now sort of staying quite stagnant, so really seems to be controlling it quite well. Now, look at this. Lewis, oh, that's a big lunge there ahead of Lewis Ward. Norborg and Wangen, oh, they come together. That was, oh, a little bit inevitable. Thomas Wangen, oh, perfect. And here comes Sam Fitzpatrick. Now, is Sam Fitzpatrick going to pick up a place here? Not quite, no, but he'll put his sights onto Thomas Wangen now. We have to, I know we jest, Marco, but Sam Fitzpatrick, he's just been clicking out these top 15 finishes in the feature race time and again, and in the top 10 in the championship.
Yeah, he's, you know, he's playing to his strength, which, as I was talking about this earlier before there was an accident, stopped my train of thoughts there, but you know, it's so important to be consistent in a championship like this, especially if you know you don't have, you know, Josh Thompson, Nick Madsen, Pascal Costa kind of pace, you know. Be consistent, don't do anything stupid, again, easier said than done, and stay out of trouble, and good things will come, usually.
Well, they certainly did in the heat race, picked up 3 positions on the last lap, so yeah, absolutely playing it very smart indeed. So, Nick Madsen holding on to the last spot on the podium right now, but can Matthias Burke have anything to say about it? And can Pascal Costa have anything to say? I tell you what, we've almost been slightly robbed of a really good battle there between Thompson and Costa, because Costa is really on his A game tonight, and he'll be kicking himself when this race is over, because I think he knew that he had a really strong chance for the win there.
I think you are absolutely correct, and I'm sure, I mean, he showed immediately he wasn't going to be happy with second place. He was immediately aggressive after the overtake, trying to get the position back. That's very, very unfortunate. You know, it's off to Collins because he's having a very, very clean, quick race, and he will bring home a nice second place if things hold on like this. And you know, it's anybody's game for the third step of the podium. I mean, Nick Madsen has a little bit of an advantage, but as you can see, not that big, and he's got some equally quick and talented drivers behind him. So we have 3 minutes left, should be 2 laps and a half, I think, if maths serve me right. They usually don't. So I think you know, it's not over just yet.
No, not just yet, that is for sure. I think, as we know, particularly on the last lap, that's when the desperation can kick in. But now, I tell you what, this has been quite a quiet night for Kamil Grabowski, the Polish kart racer. Last season's champion, of course, defending his title this season, and we've seen him fighting up the front nearly every round in ARA Porsche Cup history. But this has been a surprisingly quiet night for the Polish driver. Yeah,
you're right. +3 from his position on the starting grid. He started 9th in the main event. So yeah, he's just I think maybe he's not particularly fond of this racetrack. He's just trying to survive and bring home the most points possible, which, as we were saying a few moments ago, is not a bad strategy to have, as we are into the penultimate lap. I don't think that Thompson has taken the white flag.
No, not quite. It's going to go. Well, I hope nobody's I hope nobody's close on fuel, because we're going to go pretty much an entire lap distance or lap time long. We're going to be just before the 20-minute mark when we go past the white flag. So you would hope that the drivers haven't gone that close, but it wouldn't be the first time we've seen someone run out of fuel.
Looking on the penultimate corner is Josh Thompson. We have 20 seconds on the clock, so we should see this time around Barney the flagman wave with you know, a lot of enthusiasm the white flag. Where are you, Barney?
There he is.
Okay, so white flag is in the air, last lap. Thompson and Collins are pretty much safe. Behind them is anybody's guess on who's going to grab the podium so far. Of course, Madsen is the heavy favorite, but it only takes one mistake, and it only takes maybe a lunge, let's say from Burke, and you know, things can open up for Costa, for Grabowski, etc. So you know, not done by any stretch of the imagination for the final step of the podium in the overall championship.
It seems that, whoa, it just seems that Madsen has kind of faded back into the clutches of Matthias Burke here, actually. It looked like Madsen was safe a lap or two ago, but really kind of fading back a little bit now. Is Burke going to have a little look here into the corkscrew? Well, I'll tell you what, Madsen absolutely nailed that exit onto the Rahal straight. Very difficult corner. They filter through, tippy-toeing their way down the corkscrew. And here comes Costa. Look for Costa. Whoa, I thought he was going to have a lunge up the inside there at Rainy Curve. Really desperate to try and get as many points from his day as he can. Nick Madsen looks to be safe, but is Burke going to have a lunge up the inside? No, he isn't. And Burke goes defensive to Costa, but your winner for your third time in a row, Josh Thompson, wins here at Laguna Seca. Bryn Collins, a very impressive third, and Nick Madsen gets the last spot on the podium.
Wolf will win in the amateur class, where Finn has made a comeback up into 21st place. So damage limitation for the Kairos competition driver after a tough beginning of this main event. But Max Wolf will be your winner in the amateur class. Congratulations to him. P18 brings on some valuable points for the championship, and of course a nice victory. Fifth, second, as I was saying, and third is Mark Silko, who had a problem earlier in the race that we missed, and so he dropped behind a few spots and he was able to finish in third place. Waiting for a couple of drivers to come home. It's Craig Jones and Joseph Sol, and then we will be ready to go with the interviews and, more importantly, go with the results and, more importantly, give you the interviews with the protagonists of tonight's races. So, should be almost ready to go. There we go. The final results from race from tonight's Laguna Seca feature race. Apologies. There we go.
Well, confirming then your winner, Josh Thompson. He was made to work very hard for it by Pascal Costa, but the Manxman coming out on top over Bryn Collins, with Nick Madsen rounding out the podium. Matthias Burke was fourth, with Pascal Costa finishing in fifth in the end, with Kamil Grabowski a quiet night by his standards, but still a very strong haul of points nonetheless. Niels Erik Isaacson was seventh, followed by Matthias Jensen, Roger Christensen, Joe Vegard Godderstad, rounding out the top 10. Robin Noborg was 11th, followed by Lewis Ward, Thomas Wangan, Sam Fitzpatrick getting another top 15, with Leandro Andaruti rounding out the top 15 here today. Max Kessler was 16th, with Dominic Forster in 17th, and Max Wolf, your AM class winner, in 18th position. Simone Passoni was 19th, followed by Mark Hutchison, Kevin Finn, Sindre Silva, Mark Silcock, Paul Lange, Craig Jones, Joseph Saul, Mateus Nogaj, and Andrea Alberti rounding out the top 28, with Ross Steele and Thomas Torp also not finishing. So 4 cars not getting to the end of the feature race. Well, Marco, do we have any drivers willing to come and talk to us? Not yet.
Not yet, so let me first of all, once again present the link to the drivers in the Discord, which is now the link to the Discord in the YouTube chat, which is now available for everyone. And I will also want to use this little bit of a break that we have to give you a quick look at what we have coming up next on Apex Racing TV. And it's a, interesting weekend to say the least. Of course, we'll start the festivities tomorrow on at 19 GMT with the Apex Racing League TC Championship, the penultimate round of the season from Le Mans, so you don't want to miss that, absolutely. And then on Friday we have a nice double header starting at 19 GMT, the Wave Italy Prototype Championship from Twin Ring Motegi. That's going to be round 6 and a night race, which by the way, I don't know if you know this, Peter, but Motegi at night is Sam Fitzpatrick most disliked track on iRacing, so it's very sad that we don't have it on the Porsche Cup Championship. After that race is over, like basically the moment that the race goes off the air at 21 GMT, the iRacing Radical Racing Challenge from Suzuka, so we just have to take a very quick trip across Japan to watch that race, and then at half past 30 sorry, at half past midnight that same day or the next day, depending on where you are in the world, the Sim Racers for Mental Health Indy 500. So, well, that's very interesting. And then again, at 1:15 GMT the next day, Sim Racers Asia is back with round 10 from Circuit of the Americas. And then again, later that day at 9:45 GMT. Formula 3.5, the penultimate round of the season, still a very open championship live from Spa. And then Sunday, the usual night doubleheader with the Spec Racer Weekend Warriors live from Summit Point. And half an hour later, VRS IGP Fan F3 Super Series live from Road Atlanta. So a very, very busy end of the week, you know, for here on Apex 3 TV. Let's see if we have someone. Yes, we have a few drivers. So do. Peter, your choice.
Well, Marco, I'll give you the professional driver and I'll take the other one. Let's just put it that way.
Okay.
I'll let you go first. Yeah, Marco Barbanera with Josh Thompson.
Thanks, thanks, Peter. Here we are with Josh Thompson. Hello, Josh. Congratulations on this great victory. So, first of all, I want to ask you about qualifying, because you were a bit, I wouldn't say upset, but not very happy about the car in the YouTube chat after qualifying.
Yeah, qualifying was a bit of a mess on my side, to be honest. I've struggled all day with it. This is literally a combination I was dreading the most. Obviously, with driving a car so much, you learn what the car does over time quite well. And with how the car reacts with the diff preload, it locks and unlocks really suddenly. So any sort of curb or gravel, it instantly locks the diff and it just starts to spin the tyre. And every lap in qualifying, and it did that into the corkscrew. So every time I'd come up on a good lap for pole, it would do it and lose like 2 temps instantly. So yeah, I wasn't happy, and obviously it was doing it through the race as well, but I went really crazy with myself just to try and fix it.
And then during the feature race, you were in second for the opening portion, then you went for the move, and after a few moments, there was the mistake from Pascal, which you know, I think made you breathe a little bit easier for the remainder of the main event.
Yeah, it was a great race, to be fair. I said at the end of the race, it was a massive respect to him for racing, because obviously he could have easily rammed me off the track in T2 with how the car understeers, like around the outside. I was on such a fine line of going onto the gravel on the exit. He could have easily, you know, like pushed the car, one car went over and shoved me onto the gravel. So massive respect for that. It was a shame, really. I think the mistake happened because he followed me. I went off as well. I missed the corner completely. So obviously I went off, and I think he's then followed, trying to carry the corner speed to catch back up so he can have a dive into the final corner. So he gets to run, and as he's done that, as he's tried to come back onto the track, the car just gripped up on the curb, and that's what spat him. So it was a shame, really, because I think it would have gone all the way. I think Pascal did have the pace over me, to be honest. So it was a shame, but it is what it is. Either way, I managed to hold on.
In 1 week's time, we'll be visiting another twisty racetrack, but with a big difference. Not a lot of run-off area. We'll be heading for Montreal. What are your thoughts about the racetrack?
To be honest, probably the most excited I am for a track on the calendar. Montreal's always been good to me. I was strong there in Pau in the PESC season. Even with having a Q ban, still managed to race around there, like inside the top 8 area most of the features. So I enjoy the combo. I know a lot of people don't like it because obviously the slowdowns, but once you figure out what you need to do in the chicane, it's not too bad. So hopefully you can go for a better run overall. Obviously I still won today, but it was a lot of mistakes on my end, which I need to work on.
Awesome. Well, Josh, congratulations on the victory. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank?
Yeah, you guys are going for the broadcasting. I'll be watching it back to see how many times I blinked in the final race. So obviously, apparently my connection was bad according to someone who wasn't very happy with me at the start. So be looking at that. Obviously, everyone at Williams Esports as well. Without them, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, and hopefully we'll catch you in this interview booth next week.
See you later, guys. Thank you.
Okay, Peter.
Well,
you know, it's now or never for you.
Well, I think we should get Nick Madsen in for a chat and see what he thinks. Nick, welcome to the Apex Racing TV commentary box. You had to work hard for that podium there. Tell us about your day at Laguna Seca.
All in all, I didn't really expect a top 5 here because I felt a little bit off pace, but I managed to have a good qualifier in P4 and just tried to stick with Josh in the first heat. And I was locking up too much on the second lap, first corner, so my tires was a little bit burnt out the rest of heat 1. So yeah, I was just about to drive it home, and yeah. And final, I had a terrible start. I went down to P6 or P7 from starting P4, and was just waiting for the guy in front to make some mistakes, and a few cars went off, and yeah, no overtakings because yeah, it's really difficult to overtake here. So I'll take the podium. That's nice.
It is indeed, yes, especially with it so competitive as well. Tell us about the track temperature, because it looked very high. Was it causing some grip issues out there? Because Laguna's not grippy at the best of times.
Yeah, it was really high and really difficult to get the Porsche Cup around. So we started at 51 in the practice, and then it just went down. I think first heat was about 43 degrees. And final was 35, so a lot of falling temperatures, and we just improved our lap times as we got by the evening.
And looking ahead to the rest of the season, Nick, it's obviously you were our season 1 champion, which seems so long ago now, but it wasn't. How are you feeling heading into the rest of the championship? Because certainly from our seat, this seems like the most competitive season we've ever seen.
Yeah, a lot of more competitive drivers has joined this league, and it's just even more fun to race against the best. A guy like Josh Thompson from Williams. So yeah, I'm just happy to be here, and always try to do my best. And yeah, last round I had some PC issues, so I just went out in the last Consolation race with 3 laps behind. So yeah, that might be my drop score, I think.
Quite possibly. Well, Nick, we wish you all the very best of luck for the rest of the season, and good luck next week.
Thanks a lot, guys, and thanks for a great broadcast as always. See you.
Thanks, Nick. Well, that is all we have time for tonight here on Apex Racing TV. We hope you enjoyed this broadcast of the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup Championship. Be sure to join us same time next week here on Apex Racing TV for the next round from Montreal. For myself, Peter Mackay, and my broadcast colleague Marco Barbonera, many thanks indeed for watching, and we'll see you next time.